Hey everyone, welcome back or welcome to my channel if you're new here. So today's case is a continuation of the last video I did, which is the Leila Cavett case, and this is actually an updates video, so I'm going to be giving you guys all of the new information that's come out recently, and there is a lot of new information, so prepare yourself, there's going to be a lot there to dissect. As always, I'm going to give you guys my usual disclaimer, so I'm reporting on very public news that anyone has access to. All of the opinions expressed are my own unless I say otherwise, and all of my sources are listed down below. Now let's get into it. So before I get into the new information that has been released, I'm going to put some corrections from my last video. So some new information has come out that conflicts with what the media has been saying, and so I want to have the most accurate information, so I'm going to get into that now. So Leila actually was living with her uncle at the time of her disappearance. She was not living with a friend as was previously stated, because her and this friend had a falling out, and so she went to live with her uncle. She also mentioned to her uncle that she was planning on going to Florida, but she mentioned it very casually, so he didn't take it seriously, and also she didn't have a job at the time that she mentioned this trip, so he didn't think that she had the money to actually go. Going off of that, I saw in a lot of media reports that Leila was working at Dunkin' Donuts at the time of her disappearance, and as I just said, her uncle stated that she was unemployed, so she was actually not working at Dunkin' Donuts and didn't have a job. Another thing that has come out that previously was stated differently is that Daniel Lee West, so Kamdyn's alleged biological father, has actually said that him and Leila dated for a while, when previously he said that they didn't have any kind of relationship and it was just kind of a hookup situation, but now he's saying that they did have a relationship in some media reports, so I thought I'd put that out there because there is conflicting information on their relationship. So speaking of Danny Lee, he also says that he wired Leila $50 3 days before Cam was found, so on the 23rd of July, and Leila claimed that this money was for Cam to go to the dentist because he was having some sort of teeth issues. He also says that he wired her $60 separately to the Dawsonville, Georgia Walmart because her and Cam needed to get some stuff, and she actually sent him a video of her and Cam at that Walmart confirming that they were there. Daniel Lee was not the only person who gave Leila money in the days leading up to her disappearance, so her uncle claims to have given her $40 in the days leading to when she went to Florida, and he has stated that he believes that this money was used for gas money to get her down there. So now that all of those clarifications and some of the facts are out of the way, we're going to get into the meat of the new information. So all of this pretty much centers around Shannon Ryan, who is a figure who has inserted himself inside this investigation and has actually been arrested. But before we get to that, we're going to get into how he was inserted in this investigation in the first place. So as many of you might know who have been following this case, about a couple weeks ago, Shannon Ryan posted an hour-long video on his Facebook page stating that he was the last person to see Leila alive. As I said, this video is an hour long, so it's very long and there's a lot of information in it, and I'm not going to insert it in this video, and instead I'm just going to give you guys a recap of the main points or the important points, in my opinion, that the police have, reported on, and I'm just going to leave the rest of it out because he does ramble a lot and say a lot of stuff that doesn't make sense, and I just don't feel the need to include it in this video because it might confuse you guys, and it really did confuse me, so I just feel like we're better off just not including some of this stuff. As for some background on Shannon Ryan himself, so he admits in the video that he's had a troubled past and that he actually spent time in prison for drugs and burglary. And so I looked this up to see, what he was actually charged with, and I was able to find in the Alabama prison system that he spent 11 years in prison from 2004 to 2015 for burglary and drug-related charges. He's also a self-proclaimed god and a witch doctor, and he actually runs a Facebook page called Magic Kundalini, and I actually looked on this Facebook page, and according to it, it's a page dedicated to mentorship and witchcraft and kind of self-healing meditation types of things, but its main focus is on witchcraft. So now let's get into the important part about how Shannon Ryan claims to know Leela. So he says that he met her about a year ago when she was homeless, and that it was on a rainy day, and her and Cam were outside walking in his neighborhood, and they knocked on his door asking to use his phone because she needed someone to pick her up, and he ended up just letting them stay with him for a few months. Now, he talks pretty poorly about Leela and says that while she was living with him, she stole from him frequently, and he also says that she would get into cars with random men and get money from them as well. Ryan expresses a lot of anger towards Leela in the video and says that he put a hex on her after she stole from him twice, and he also claims that she killed his cat and that he was very mad about this. And I find this to be very concerning considering that she's missing and that this is a person who has a motive and who also kind of has an agenda against her. Additionally, Shannon claims that he kind of had a mentorship relationship with Leela and that he was trying to teach her witchcraft and he wanted her to be his apprentice, but she stopped living with him after a few months, and they only reconnected recently when she contacted him because she wanted to continue her training. At the time that Leela and Shannon reconnected, he claims that he was down in Florida taking care of his apprentice, who I've also seen called his girlfriend, named Christina Lawson, who's sick. She's in the hospital down there and reportedly doesn't have any family down there, so he goes down to be with her. But in the meanwhile, he feels like he needs someone to fill in for her as his apprentice, and with Leela contacting him again, he thinks it'd be a good fit. Throughout their conversations, Leela tells Shannon that she just purchased a new truck, and Shannon actually says that he needs a truck for some spiritual work that he's going to be doing in the Everglades, and so he asks her to come down to Florida so that he can buy the truck from her and that she can also help him with the spiritual work in the mountains. However, Shannon reports that it took Leela an unusually long amount of time to get from Georgia to Florida where he was. He says that it's only an 8-hour drive, but that it took her 4 days to get down there and that he kept messaging her, asking her where she is, and she kept saying she was only a few hours away, but didn't show up until 4 days later. He's basically implying that she was down there possibly seeing other people or for another reason. However, there is no evidence to corroborate this. There has been footage released, however, that corroborates the timeline of Leela coming down to Florida on July 24th. She's seen with Kamdyn at a Cracker Barrel in Vero Beach on Interstate 95. On July 25th, Shannon Ryan claims that he finally met up with Leela at a Walmart in Hollywood, Florida, and also a Racetrack gas station next door. He says that he was going to give her $3,000 for her truck and that he did give it to her. However, he held back $500 of it because he claims the car was so messy that he wouldn't give her the $500 until she helped him clean it. He then continues with his story and says that he ended up spending the rest of the day with Kamdyn and Leela and that they went to the beach together as well as for meals at the Cheesecake Factory as well as a place called Polo Tropical. However, there's no mention of them cleaning the truck, which I find to be strange considering he made such a big deal about it earlier in the story. Next, he says that they returned to the Racetrack gas station at 2:30 a.m. that night or into the next morning on the 26th of July and the same day that Cam was found by himself. He says that Leela started talking to black males in a dark-colored sedan and all of a sudden got in the car with Cam, and he claims he had never seen her again after that. However, police have footage from the gas station at this time, and it doesn't corroborate his story at all. In fact, it actually proves that his car was not at the gas station at this time, like he said, and neither was this dark-colored sedan or Leela or Cam, so this proves that really none of this happened, and this part of the story is very false. New footage of Leela at the Racetrack gas station earlier that day has been released by the police just a few days ago, and it shows her there without Cam and with a man behind her that looks like Shannon Ryan, although this hasn't been confirmed. This is the last known sighting of Leela, and I'll try to include this footage right now if I can. So this is where things start to get really strange, as if they weren't strange enough to begin with. So Shannon Ryan claims to have not been worried at all when Leela and her young son disappeared with these strangers. He claims to have spent the next couple of days at the Racetrack gas station using their Wi-Fi, and that he didn't even know Leela was missing until he went back to the Walmart parking lot to get her truck that he had bought, and he saw the police were there and they said they wanted to question him. However, this timeline is just not adding up with the facts that law enforcement know, because his car was seen around the apartment building on the morning of the 26th, which was the day Cam was found, at the same apartment building that he was found. So his car is seen leaving the gas station at 8:15 a.m. and seen returning at around 8:38 a.m., which is basically the time when Cam was found by the stranger alone in this apartment building. Additional evidence that just throws the theory that Shannon Ryan had no idea where Leela or her son was out the window is that employees at the Racetrack gas station claim to have seen Leela's clothing that she was wearing the day before, as well as toys in their dumpster. Law enforcement has actually sectioned off this dumpster, and I believe they've taken it in for evidence, and it seems like they're combing through to see if they can find anything else. Police were able to obtain Shannon Ryan's phone to see if his claims of the day were true, and they actually ended up finding a very disturbing search history. They saw that he had looked up, what day does commercial garbage pick up for Hollywood, Florida, and does bleach and alcohol make chloroform? This is some pretty disturbing search history and has caused law enforcement to be very concerned about Leela's safety. As if this wasn't disturbing enough, when law enforcement searched Leela's car after finding it, they found shovels with a red substance on it. They're currently looking at this substance in their labs to test it to see if it's human blood, and if so, if it belongs to Leela. This is a very concerning finding, especially considering that Shannon Ryan had the keys to this car and could have put things in it, considering that he claims to have bought it from Leela and obtained the keys. Police also discovered that Shannon Ryan had been using Christina Lawson's credit card for many purchases in the days surrounding Leela's disappearance. So if you remember, Christina Lawson is his apprentice that was sick and is also claimed to be his girlfriend. With this card, he bought garbage bags, extra strength carpet odor eliminator, and duct tape from the Walmart and the Racetrack gas station. With all of this evidence mounting up and disproving Shannon Ryan's story that he told, the FBI arrested him last Saturday on kidnapping charges for baby Cam. However, he was not arrested for kidnapping Leela or any charges relating to her, which I found to be kind of strange, but you know, that's not unusual in some of these cases. They might just have evidence pointing towards this, and that's why they decided to go forward with this charge. Court documents released say that he was charged with kidnapping for the purpose of getting a ransom. However, this has not been explained by police. I've looked everywhere about this ransom and, you know, where this evidence is coming from that he wanted a ransom for Cam, and I haven't been able to find it. So hopefully law enforcement will release this information soon and I can update you guys. As of a few days ago, the FBI increased the reward for Leela's return to $10,000, which I'm hoping will spark new interest in this case and produce new leads. As for updates on Kamdyn, the family's lawyer has said that he's still in CPS custody in Alabama. I know that Leela's family is trying to get custody of him, as well as DNA Lee. However, I'm not sure what's going on behind the scenes. What I do know is that Leela's father, Curtis, was able to talk to Kamdyn over Zoom recently, and he says that Kamdyn has expressed that he really misses his mother, which is just heartbreaking. The family has said that the process to obtain Kamdyn is not easy and that they're doing their best and hope to be reunited with him soon. Speaking of family, Shannon Ryan's mom has actually spoken out and said that she supports her son and doesn't believe he hurt Leela, and that she doesn't think he could hurt anyone. However, the courts and the judge seem to disagree with this because Friday was his detention hearing and he was denied bail. The judge said that Ryan is a flight risk as well as a risk to society, and that there's also a lot of strong circumstantial evidence in his kidnapping case. He's sending forward the case to the grand jury, and there's a minimum of 20 years sentence if he's found guilty of kidnapping because it does involve a minor. Also, at this detention hearing on Friday, the FBI released a lot of key information that hadn't been put out there before. One of these pieces of evidence involves Leela's messages to Shannon Ryan. So they went through these messages and found that Leela was intending to go down to Florida to be Shannon Ryan's apprentice. However, there was no mention of her selling her truck to him for $3,000, as he had mentioned as part of his story on his Facebook. Law enforcement also said that Leela wasn't communicating with anyone else down in Florida and that she was going down there with the sole purpose of meeting up with Shannon Ryan. This kind of debunks his theory that it took her so long to get down there because she was possibly seeing other people, and that this is indeed false. Law enforcement reiterated that they're testing the blood that they found on the shovels in Leela's car, and also revealed that they found more blood on the driver's side rear passenger seat in the truck. They've also apparently searched Shannon Ryan's car, and that there was blood found on the driver's seat as well as the front passenger seat. They are said to be testing this blood and comparing it to see if it's Leela's or if it's someone else's, so that they can have some indication of what potentially happened to her. Not only were these key pieces of potential DNA evidence obtained, but also new surveillance footage was said to be in possession by the police that is very incriminatory towards Shannon Ryan. They said that they have footage of him at the gas station on the 27th, moving stuff from his car to the dumpster and back and forth, getting rid of various things, which is very suspicious. They also revealed that they have evidence of Shannon Ryan's car at the exact apartments that Cam was found at around the time that he was found. However, surprisingly, Shannon Ryan actually admitted to being there, but he claims he had a flat tire and that he wasn't with Cam and he didn't drop him off there. Yeah, okay. Sadly, the FBI also said that they believe that Leela is no longer alive. They said that she hasn't used any of her cards and that there's been no proof of life. Also, there was damage to the driver's side window of her car, which they think shows some kind of struggle took place. It's also said that Shannon Ryan tried to sell Leela's car in the days surrounding her disappearance. I find that to be really suspicious because in his Facebook Live, he claimed that he needed this truck and that he told Leela to come down for the sole purpose of getting this truck. So if he needed it so badly, why would he then go and sell it? That's very strange to me and pokes a lot of holes in his story. But those are the main new pieces of evidence that we have right now in the case. I'm thinking law enforcement will release more information as it gets closer to the grand jury hearing. However, you never know, maybe they're playing it close to the vest and don't want to reveal too much. I'm sure they're hoping to get some information from Shannon Ryan, as it's been reported that he's very tight-lipped and he's not revealing anything. Although he did reveal that he was at those apartments, so maybe he'll start to crack and reveal more as time goes on. It really seems like law enforcement's priority right now is locating Leela, as they got the dumpster and it seems like they're sectioning off different areas and trying to look to see if there's any evidence. Shannon Ryan's phone pinged in a very small area around the days of Leela's disappearance, so allegedly if he did have her somewhere, he couldn't have gone very far if that's the case. But I'm really hoping that there's a good resolution because there's a young child involved who really misses his mother. It seems like law enforcement knows more than they're revealing, so I'm sure we'll get new information soon, and as that comes in, I'll be sure to update you guys. But that's all I have for you guys today. Thank you so much for listening to Leela's story and for watching my video, and be sure to like and subscribe. Thank you guys so much. Bye!